What happens when the script goes out the window? Two of the biggest stars in history botch the finish simultaneously, and the chairman of the board tears both his quads trying to fix it. In 2005, the Royal Rumble didn't just break the rules, it broke the boss. Welcome to the WrestleVerse. Today, we are counting down the top 15 Royal Rumble controversies that shook the foundations of professional wrestling. Since its debut in 1988, the Rumble has been a logistical monster, coordinating 30 performers, a fleet of referees, and a rigid TV timeline. It's the engine that drives the road to WrestleMania, but with so many moving parts, institutional volatility is inevitable. Today, we aren't just looking at the work. We're looking at the technical failures, the locker room hazing, the medical disasters, and the nights where you, the fans, exercised your collective veto power to hijack the show. Let's take a trip down memory lane to the moments the industry wishes we'd forget. Number 15, the Titus O'Neil Greatest Slip, 2018. In the modern era of sports entertainment, everything is bigger. The stadiums, the lights, and especially the entrance ramps. But as the staging gets more elaborate, the technical hazards for the performers skyrocket. At number 15, we have a moment that proves even the most professional athletes are at the mercy of their environment. During the 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, Titus O'Neil provided the ultimate example of environmental disruption. As he ran toward the ring with full intensity, he lost his footing on the slick surface and slid completely, and I mean completely, under the ring apron. Now, fortunately, Titus wasn't injured, but the impact on the show was massive. In a high-stakes, high-budget environment meant to project brand gravity, this moment of spontaneous levity completely derailed the narrative. It became an instant global viral sensation, overshadowing the 50-man match itself. It's a stark reminder that in a live corporate spectacle, one wet spot on the floor can turn a world-class athlete into an accidental slapstick performer. But as we move up our list, we'll see that physical slips are nothing compared to the slips in logic that the referees have to cover up. Number 14, the Savage Rule, 1992. For an industry that relies on the suspension of disbelief, keeping the rules consistent is everything. But at number 14, we see what happens when a top-tier star forgets the rules, and the commentators have to lie to your face to save the show. The Royal Rumble's primary rule is simple. You are eliminated when you go over the top rope, and both feet hit the floor. In 1992, Randy Savage was so consumed by his blood feud with Jake the Snake Roberts that after tossing Jake, he leapt over the top rope to the floor to continue the assault. Under established logic, Savage was out. He should have been disqualified immediately. But Savage was a cornerstone of the planned finish. To protect the script, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan were forced to improvise a brand new rule on the spot. They claimed a wrestler cannot be eliminated if they leave the ring of their own accord without being forced out by an opponent. This savage rule was a glaring example of institutional inconsistency. Why? In 1989, Andre the Giant was eliminated for jumping out of the ring because he was scared of a snake. And in 1997, Mil Mascaras was barred from returning after he dove off the top turnbuckle to the floor. For historians of the game, this moment remains a point of ire, a reminder that the rules only apply when they don't get in the way of the corporate plan. Number 13, Santino Marella's Milan Miracle, Fake Out, 2011. Now, we often criticize the Royal Rumble for being predictable. Most years, you can narrow the potential winners down to 2 or 3 hand-picked stars. But in 2011, the company decided to play a very dangerous game with the audience's trust. That year, the Rumble was expanded to 40 men, but the crowd was having a hard time connecting with the chosen winner, Alberto Del Rio. In the final sequence, Santino Marella, a pure comedy character who had been hiding outside the ring, slid back in and hit his Cobra finisher on Del Rio. For a heartbeat, the arena exploded. People truly believed they were about to see the greatest upset in wrestling history, but the house always wins. The company chose a fake-out ending. Del Rio recovered instantly and dumped Santino over the top. While it made for a moment, it left a sour taste in the mouths of many fans. By teasing a subversion of the predictable corporate winner only, to snatch it away, the institution risked alienating the very people they needed to buy into the WrestleMania main event. This friction between corporate star power and narrative fairness is a recurring theme, but it's never more visible than when it involves the industry's biggest icon. Number 12. Hulk Hogan's Sore Loser, Precedents 1989-1992. If you grew up in the 80s, Hulk Hogan was the hero. He was the cornerstone of the company's expansion. But if you look closely at his Royal Rumble history, the Immortal One often acted a lot more like a villain than a hero. In 1989, after being legally eliminated by the Big Boss Man and Akeem, Hogan refused to leave. He stayed at ringside and illegally pulled the Boss Man out of the ring. But the real controversy came in 1992. After Sid Justice eliminated Hogan to a chorus of cheers from the audience, Hogan, the supposed hero, reached back into the ring and grabbed Sid's arm. This distraction allowed Ric Flair to dump Sid for the win. The company's announcers tried to frame it as righteous indignation, but the fans saw it for what it was, the actions of a sore loser. This created a strange cognitive dissonance for the audience. When the face of the company acts with such poor sportsmanship, you start to question the whole heroic model. In a way, Hogan's ego in these moments helped pave the way for the anti-hero era of the late 90s. But while Hogan was bruising his ego, other wrestlers were suffering far more permanent damage. Number 11. The career-ending concussion of Chris Nowinski, 2003. At number 11, we move away from the work and into a sobering reality. For decades, the wrestling industry was built on a show-must-go-on mentality, a culture that often prioritized the broadcast over the human being in the ring. In 2003, that culture ended the career of a promising young talent named Chris Nowinski. During a botched double drop kick spot with Edge and Rey Mysterio, Nowinski's head struck the mat with catastrophic force. Despite suffering a severe concussion, the institutional pressure to finish the match led Nowinski to keep performing. The failure of the staff and referees to identify the trauma in real time was a pivotal breakdown in professional standards. This wasn't just a botch, it was a life-altering event. This injury forced Nowinski to retire from the ring, but it also sparked a revolution. He transitioned from a performer to a leading researcher for CTE and brain trauma, eventually forcing the entire industry to professionalize its medical protocols. It's a dark chapter in Rumble history that reminds us that the stakes of this entertainment are often much higher than we realize. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the hidden history of the squared circle, consider subscribing to the WrestleVerse. We're dedicated to preserving the stories of the Golden Age, and your support helps us keep the history alive. Number 10. The Muhammad Hassan Geopolitical Friction, 2005. Now, for those of us who remember the territories, the foreign menace was a staple of the business, but in 2005, the company tried to update that archetype for a post-9/11 world, and it resulted in one of the most tone-deaf administrative failures in history. The character of Muhammad Hassan was an Arab-American archetype, portrayed as someone frustrated by the prejudice he faced in America. While the performer, Mark Copani, was actually of Italian descent, the character was designed to draw nuclear heat. At the 2005 Royal Rumble, he entered to a chorus of boos and was immediately ganged up on and eliminated by a united front of both heroes and villains. A rare moment where the entire roster agreed on one thing. But the real controversy peaked months later. A taped segment involving masked terrorists attacking The Undertaker aired on the same day as the July 7th London bombings. Despite the tragedy, the company initially refused to edit the segment, leading to massive pressure from network partners and the media. The fallout was total. The character was completely removed from television, and the performer was released. It stands as a grim case study in the risks of exploiting real-world trauma for short-term heat. Number 9. Brock Lesnar's dominance versus the Matt Riddle push 2022. We often like to think The Office is in total control of who wins and loses, but at number 9, we see a modern example of how a top-tier star's leverage can essentially hold the company's creative vision hostage. In 2022, Brock Lesnar entered the Rumble and won it, but he wasn't even supposed to be the focus of that match. According to former superstar Matt Riddle, the original plan was for Riddle himself to win the Rumble that year. However, Riddle alleged that Lesnar, after losing his championship earlier that same night, simply refused to do business. Lesnar reportedly insisted on winning the match himself to set up a winner-take-all unification match at WrestleMania 38. The most shocking part, according to Riddle, not a single producer backstage was willing to stand up to Lesnar to protect the original plan. This incident highlights the total breakdown of creative authority when a performer's star power outweighs the company's long-term developmental goals. Riddle's push was scrapped, and the Beast got exactly what he wanted. Number 8. The Shane McMahon production debacle, 2022. If the Lesnar situation showed a star overriding The Office, our number 8 spot shows what happens when The Office itself, specifically the chairman's own son, causes a total production meltdown. The 2022 Royal Rumble is frequently cited for its poor production and chaotic booking. Shane McMahon was serving as a lead producer for the men's match, but reports emerged that he attempted to self-book the entire contest to center primarily around himself. The backstage heat was white-hot. Shane was allegedly openly burying other producers and changing spots that had already been approved by his father, Vince. The confusion was so bad that it reportedly frustrated celebrity guests like Bad Bunny and caused technical errors, like the wrong entrance music playing for participants. The consequences were swift and shocking. Vince McMahon reportedly quietly let go of his own son just days after the event, scrapping all of Shane's planned WrestleMania appearances. It was a stark illustration that even being the chairman's son won't save you when your interference causes widespread production chaos. Number 7. The Rock vs. Big Show. Replay precedent, 2000. In the old days of the territories, there was one golden rule. The referee's decision is final. No matter what happened, once that bell rang, the history books were closed. But at the 2000 Royal Rumble, a legitimate failure of execution forced the company to destroy that trope forever. The Rock was booked to win the match cleanly by eliminating the Big Show. However, the momentum of the final sequence was too much. The Rock's feet struck the arena floor before he could pull himself back in. This wasn't a planned draw like in '94. This was a high-profile botch involving the most popular star in the world. The error was so visible on the live broadcast that the institution couldn't just ignore it. In a massive narrative pivot, the company began using alternative camera angles on television to prove the Rock's feet hit first. This forced a total restructuring of the road to WrestleMania, expanding the main event into a fatal four-way to accommodate both men and the Big Show's legitimate claim to the victory. It proved that in the era of high-definition replays, The Office could no longer hide behind the blind referee. Number 6. The Daniel Puder Shoot and Locker Room Hazing, 2005. For those of us who appreciate the toughness of the Golden Age, this next one is a chilling look at receipt culture, the unscripted disciplinary mechanism used by veterans to punish newcomers. The controversy started on an episode of SmackDown when Daniel Puder, a rookie with a legitimate MMA background, nearly broke Hall of Famer Kurt Angle's arm in an unscripted shoot encounter during a televised segment. The veteran locker room viewed this as a gross violation of professional etiquette. The receipt was delivered at the 2005 Royal Rumble. Puder was entered at number 3 and was immediately met by Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Hardcore Holly. For several minutes, they subjected the rookie to a legitimate, brutal assault, hitting him with strikes so stiff his chest reportedly resembled hamburger meat. Referee Jimmy Corderas eventually had to improvise a fast 3-count just to eliminate Puder and end the beating before a catastrophic injury occurred to the veteran's reputations, or the rookie's body. It remains a dark spot in Rumble history, highlighting an era where locker room justice took precedence over professional safety. Number 5. The CM Punk Walkout, 2014. At number 5, we have the definitive example of how institutional failure and a lack of medical oversight can cost a company its most consistent, top-tier talent. Early in the 2014 match, CM Punk sustained a legitimate concussion after a clothesline. Despite notifying the medical staff and referees that he was hurt, Punk was kept in the ring for over 45 minutes. He spent most of that time resting in the corner, clearly unable to perform at his usual level. But the injury was only the tip of the iceberg. Punk was already frustrated with the handling of a serious staph infection and a creative direction that prioritized part-time stars for the WrestleMania main event over the workhorses, who were there every night. The day after the Rumble, Punk informed Vince McMahon and Triple H that he was going home. This walkout resulted in a decade-long absence from the industry and a series of high-profile legal battles. It was a total breakdown of trust that forced the company to rethink how it treated its talent's health and professional concerns. Number 4. The Brutality of Mankind versus The Rock, I Quit, 1999. Mick Foley, performing as Mankind, took over 10, some counts say 11, unprotected chair shots to the head while his hands were handcuffed behind his back. It was a level of violence that shocked even that hardened audience. In hindsight, and with what we now know about concussions and CTE, the match is frequently cited as one of the most difficult to watch in history. The finish itself added a layer of narrative deception to the legitimate trauma. The company utilized a pre-recorded audio clip of Foley saying "I quit" from a previous promo to simulate him giving up. But the true controversy lies in the ethics of the performance. The presence of Foley's young children at ringside, whose horrified reactions were captured for the documentary Beyond the Mat, remains a haunting critique of an industry that at the time pursued extremes at the cost of human safety. This era of unchecked brutality eventually hit a wall as the audience began to demand something more than just blood. They demanded a say in the story itself. Number 3. The Lex Luger and Bret Hart co-winner Hedge, 1994. At number 3, we go back to a time when the company was desperately searching for a new face to replace Hulk Hogan. The 1994 Rumble was a landmark case of institutional indecision. The Office had two choices: Lex Luger, the corporate pick who was being pushed with the massive Lex Express campaign, and Bret Hart, the organic, technically proficient fan favorite. Instead of making a choice, the institution hedged its bets by booking a synchronized elimination. Executing this required immense technical skill. Both men had to strike the arena floor at the exact same millisecond to make the confusion believable. The result was total chaos. Referees argued Howard Finkel made conflicting announcements, and eventually, President Jack Tunney had to declare them co-winners. This tie was a creative hedge, designed to gauge audience reaction in real time. And the reaction was clear. The overwhelming support for Hart eventually forced the company's hand, leading to his definitive victory at WrestleMania 10. This was a landmark moment where the audience proved they could shape corporate destiny, a phenomenon that would evolve into the total audience hijacking we see today. Number 2. The Daniel Bryan omission and the Philadelphia Rebellion, 2014 to 2015. If 1994 showed the audience had a voice, 2014 and 2015 showed the audience had a veto power. This is the era of the Philadelphia Rebellion, where the modern fans officially went to war with the office's narrative. In 2014, the company committed a massive miscalculation by omitting the most popular star in the world, Daniel Bryan, from the Rumble match entirely. They hoped the fans would forget about him, but instead, the arena erupted in a chorus of boos that didn't stop until the show went off the air. Even a respected veteran like Rey Mysterio was booed just for being the person who wasn't Bryan. The following year in Philly, they tried damage control by putting Bryan in the match, only to eliminate him early. The fan reaction was even more hostile. When their chosen star, Roman Reigns, won the match, the institution brought out a global icon, The Rock, to endorse him. It failed absolutely. The crowd booed even The Rock. These controversies forced the company to scrap their original WrestleMania plans 2 years in a row, proving that a manufactured push cannot survive a live audience that refuses to buy what you're selling. Number 1. The Systemic Collapse, 2005. This is it, the definitive Royal Rumble controversy. In 2005, the event experienced a total friction between corporate intent and the messy reality of live performance. The script was simple. Batista was supposed to win the match cleanly to set up his main event run at WrestleMania. But as the old saying goes, everyone has a plan until they get hit. During the final elimination, Batista's momentum while attempting a powerbomb caused both him and John Cena to tumble over the top rope simultaneously. Unlike the planned tie we saw in 1994, this was a pure, unscripted accident. The result was total systemic collapse. Referees from the Raw and SmackDown brands began arguing over the winner, while the broadcast window rapidly expired. To make matters worse, there was a complete vacuum of authority backstage. Reports suggested general managers Teddy Long and Eric Bischoff had already left the building. That's when the chairman, Vince McMahon, decided to handle it himself. In a moment that has become the stuff of legend, McMahon stormed the ring with such fury that as he slid inside, he struck his leg on the edge of the ring and tore both of his quadriceps muscles. What followed was one of the most surreal images in history. The most powerful man in wrestling seated on the canvas, unable to stand, yet refusing to show a hint of pain as he barked orders to restart the match. McMahon even insisted on trying to walk backstage under his own power after the match was restarted, and Batista finally secured the win. This incident remains number 1 because it hit every pillar of controversy. A total collapse of match execution, a massive administrative failure, and a catastrophic, career-threatening injury to the boss himself. It was the night the script didn't just break, it shattered. The evolutionary impact of Rumble volatility. The history of the Royal Rumble is more than just a list of unscripted errors or backstage drama. It is a record of how this industry has evolved. These 15 controversies forced the professionalization of medical protocols after the tragedies of Nowinski and CM Punk. They empowered you, the audience, to move from being passive viewers to active participants in the creative process, proving that the collective veto is the most powerful tool in the business. From the invention of the Savage Rule to the Philadelphia Rebellion, the Royal Rumble remains the most institutionally significant event on the calendar. Its inherent complexity, 30 people, live TV, and high stakes, ensures that it will always be a site of friction and unpredictability. And that, quite frankly, is why we love it. Because no matter how much they plan, once that buzzer sounds, anything can happen. Thank you for joining us on this trip down memory lane here at the WrestleVerse. If these stories of the Golden Age and the chaos behind the curtain are what you live for, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. We're keeping the history of the squared circle alive, one controversy at a time. What's your favorite unscripted Rumble moment? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you at the next bell.